Shalom. Kol halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Okay,
French lorry drivers angry.
1 second. Shalom. Kol halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem Yashai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hashai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hashai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Hashai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone that rule well, and shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,001 May peace and blessings and the spirit of endurance be upon you and your households. Okay, right. As you know, with this conflict, World War III has started, Revelation 11:14, but it hasn't gone to full scale. All right. Now, our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the men of the Lord, all right, in the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, the mouthpiece of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Okay, the various prophets, some from a historic standpoint, some from a geopolitical standpoint, some from a very scriptorial or biblical standpoint, all combined together, and prophecy are bringing out this truth on a daily basis. Okay, and with my Lord willing understanding that I have, I'm gonna, the hopeful elect, we get understanding, okay, and we can see through the prophets of Yahweh Bashim, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yeshai, that this kingdom is falling and it's going, that tide of that water is going in the direction Yahweh Bashim Yeshai wants it to go. Okay, now with this Strait of Hormuz, what they call the chokehold, and it's literally choking the world, okay, or the countries that are not in good standing with the so-called Middle East or West Asia, right? So this is going to escalate World War III to a level which even Esau Edom doesn't want, because at the end of the day, they're just selling wolf tickets, but now they've got an Esau Edom, especially Trump, is such a proud MFer. He is gonna, once he's being challenged, right? It's gonna go to that level, which they don't want to take it, but it's gonna happen because it's all prophecy. All right, America is gonna be obliterated along with the JOO land, the 1948ers. Okay, that land, Pink City land. And what's happening right now is, as you know, for an economy to be successful and to be productive, we had the first lockdown during the 1/9 thingamajig, right? And that impacted businesses a lot. The local high streets, the local bakeries, the sandwich shops, the coffee shops were pretty much like a ghost town. Okay, so that impacts people's jobs. Businesses close down, and when it impacts people's jobs, what happens? There's no disposable income. When there's no disposable income, people don't spend, and the economy collapses even further. Okay, and people are working from home. It's convenient, especially if you've got a specific job, that requires you to work from home. That's cool, right? But overall, if everybody's on that same page, okay, and transport isn't being used and things of that nature, right? People aren't spending money like they usually do, during the so-called heyday of Esau Edom's kingdom. Obviously, everything has, for every action, there's a reaction. And the reaction that's going to come out of all this is not a good reaction. It's a great reaction for us, for the hopeful elect, because we want this MFer, this Esau Edom, this Edomite kingdom to fall, which it is gonna, because the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yeshai is not a man that he should lie. All right. So with this petrol, I've noticed prices gone up because I just put fuel in my car, full tank, a couple of days ago, and from what I noticed, it's gone up. For a full tank, it's gone up by about £20, which is about, I think, $25-30, which is a significant hit at the moment, but it's going to get worse. Okay. And so this is affecting everybody. So a lot of countries around the world are, saying to their local population or their people to stay indoors. Transport is free, so it doesn't affect people's pockets. Basically staying indoors, not try to conserve energy and fuel and things of that nature, which over a period of time is going to have a more of a significant dent. All right, which will ultimately lead to the collapse of this society and the new world order, which Esau Edom, the so-called white man, wants to do. They're going to try and get it off the ground, which will be the new financial system or infrastructure. And now for that, the RFI to the D, the CHIP, Revelation 13:16, once that comes into effect and people are going to line up for it the same way they lined up for the juicy juice during the 1-9 situation approximately 6 years ago, right? They've already got you in that same mindset. They've got you under their spell, right? They're going to do the same thing again. Okay, and so therefore, a lot of you are already primed and ready because you already took the juicy juice. And the ones that didn't take it, some of you are going to line up to take the CHIP when that time comes. Now, for World War III to go into full gear, the micro CHIP has to be not just on the horizon, it has to be there. And MFers have to be ready, lined up to take it. Now, what we're seeing right now in real time, how old is this news, by the way? From 1 day ago. ITV News, by the way, fair use. I'm not making no money out of this. I'm just going along with the agenda that's already being stated within the news segment here. All right. Now, what we're seeing right now in real time is the demise of this world. And what we're seeing right now is before hell really breaks loose. And that's why Esau Edom is pumping all these dystopian end time movies and people going crazy and, people deleting each other and, people are mourning for the old world. People are watching 80s and 90s movies and being nostalgic, saying that, America doesn't exist like this no more. Europe doesn't exist like this no more. UK is not, this is the world that doesn't exist anymore. So people are like, going through their heart pains, like a person who's in love with someone. A man is in love with a woman is in love with a man, and they haven't seen their beloved for a long time. Their heart aches. People's hearts ache for a world that doesn't exist anymore. And now we're going in the direction of, seeing this world go down. We saw the rise of Esau Edom, and he did it with bloodshed. Now we're going to see the demise of Esau Edom. And the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai is going to do that with bloodshed as well. Now I'm going to play this new segment. Let's go.
At the rising price of fuel, protesting on a motorway.
Nous allons aller au contact de ces gens-là, leur expliquer.
We will block 50 to 100 vehicles, then explain to drivers that we are calling for controls on fuel prices. If prices come down, it will benefit them as well. We will let them pass.
On contingentera 50 à 100 voitures.
Bulgarian taxi drivers, though, are staying off the street, with fuel and other expenses rising and customers falling. They say their trips often make a loss. This driver says making a profit is difficult, and many colleagues are looking for other jobs. They want the government to reduce taxes. That's something Poland has already introduced. The government there has reduced VAT on fuel from 23% to 8% and set maximum prices. The Polish Prime Minister says people should see a change at the pumps by Easter. Russia is a big producer of oil, and the Kremlin plans to ease pressures by stopping exports of petrol from April. Russian oil is subject to sanctions following the invasion of Ukraine, but the restriction will still reduce the amount of refined gasoline available elsewhere in the world. In Australia, they're trying a different approach.
We are making public transport free for a month, starting from Tuesday, the 31st of March.
The hope in the state of Victoria is that free train, tram and bus fares will reduce the use of petrol and diesel in private cars.
This is a temporary measure, but it's a temporary measure that's going to help Victorian households and families right now.
Meanwhile, in Manila, transport workers have been out on strike, demanding not just a cut in fuel costs, but also increases in wages and fares. Elsewhere in the world, they're looking at alternatives to oil. Brazil has a long history of using ethanol produced from cane sugar to fuel vehicles, and that has protected them from some of the global price rises.
Nós temos flexibilidade, nós temos.
We have flexibility in ethanol production, in vehicle engines, and also for the federal government, which sets the percentage of ethanol in the fuel blend. So we have flexibility at 3 levels. That's an advantage no other country has.
Na mistura. Então nós temos flexibilidade em 3 níveis.
Other countries, including India and Mexico, are now paying close attention to Brazil's model. And then there's the United States. Organisers say more than 3,000 No Kings protests were registered in towns and cities across the country, complaining about the leadership of President Trump. It isn't just fuel prices that have sparked the demonstrations, but many people say their cost of living doesn't match the picture they hear painted in the White House.
I see the difference in the prices. Look at the gas. And every time I go to the grocery store every week, things have gone up.
Our inflation is up, our gas prices are up, our food prices are up, but yet it's saying the alternative.
He's not taking care of us. He's supposed to be taking care of us first.
Back home, there are no signs of a shortage, but petrol has jumped above £1.50 a litre. Many are calling for the fuel duty increase due in September to be scrapped. There is no commitment to that from the government, though.
That is held in place until September, and I think that should give real reassurance to consumers. Of course, the Chancellor will want to keep all of this under review in the months to come. There's obviously some time still ahead of us until September.
We need to drill our own oil and gas in the North Sea. We are importing 40% of our gas from Norway, who are drilling in the same North Sea. It is important for our energy security, our financial security, and our national security.
But the main thing that will decide whether prices come down or rise further is the conflict in the Middle East, and that isn't something Westminster can control. David Harper, ITV News.
Okay, let's just go to AI overview as well. Okay. Fuel rations and free buses, how countries are responding, okay, to the war in Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, the chokehold. All right. I'm not going to read everything because, and a lot of companies, it's got 4-day work week. A lot of countries have introduced 4-day work weeks, I believe, in the Philippines, and I think maybe India as well, says Hindustan Times. Oh yeah, the Philippines, 4-day work week, no AC, a look at countries hit by energy crisis. Okay. Amid West Asia war, the so-called Middle East, the Philippines declared a national energy emergency on Tuesday as fuel supply of the country runs low due to the war in West Asia, okay, which is the so-called Middle East. Updated last March 26th, so it was about a week ago. It was all good a week ago. Okay, the chokehold in the Strait of Hormuz has sent several countries panting for energy supplies. The ongoing war between Iran and the United States has sent the entire world into disarray. Okay, so disarray is required. Problem, reaction, solution. New world order, right? Ongoing war between Iran and the United States has sent the entire world into disarray by triggering a global energy crisis while the missiles and drones may be flying in the skies over West Asia. The booms of them are being felt across the world, particularly in Asian countries, in the form of surging energy prices. In the form of surging energy prices and lack of adequate supply. Okay, so these prices are going to increase when you got the lack of something, right? And there's only a specific amount of that particular product or service, right? They're Esau, Edom, the money grabbers that they are, right? What they're going to do? They're going to bump up the prices of these things because there's only a specific amount left. You know, kind of like a first come, first served basis sort of situation, right? Iran has currently kept the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed. The key waterway hosts a fifth of the world's energy shipping and is not letting any ships pass through, particularly those linked to the US and Israel. The chokehold in the Strait of Hormuz has sent several countries panting for energy supplies, causing panic among their populations and even triggering a state of emergency in places such as the Philippines. Here's a deep dive into which countries remain worst hit due to the global energy crisis. Philippines. Okay, let's see. What else? Pakistan. I'll do a little synopsis on each one. The Southeast Asian nation declared a national emergency on Tuesday as the fuel supply of the country runs low due to the war going on in West Asia, right? Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said in an executive order that there is an imminent danger of a critically low energy supply and that urgent measures are necessary to deal with the prevailing situation and ensure that energy supplies remain steady and essential services are not hit. You know, America is not very, the world is not happy with America. And you see the population in the States, people are not loving Trump the way they were loving Trump. And anybody that still likes Trump, all right, are usually the rich Edomites that have money. They go, as they say, money to burn, right? So they're probably still, backing him or whatever. But for the most part, even his own people, the Edomites, don't like Trump anymore. And the rest of the sellout Jakes that were liking Trump, they don't like him no more, right? So he's becoming a real hated person. The Philippines currently has a stockpile of oil for around 45 days as of March the 20th. And Marcos expressed confidence that the flow of oil would remain steady even after that. The Philippines depends entirely on West Asia for its oil supply. Okay, so they're at the mercy of West Asia. Pakistan, all right, formerly known as India, all right. Pakistan has emerged as a central figure in the ongoing war by presenting itself as a mediator between the United States and Iran. However, it has also faced the brunt of the conflict as the prices of jet fuels and kerosene have surged sharply without any formal announcement, according to local reports. And kerosene, I believe, from knowledge, because I've been to India, I believe kerosene is a lot. Let me just Google it on my phone. 1 second. I believe it's used a lot for cooking up there because they don't have like pipes and things like that, like like gas supplies. The way it's supplied here in the UK or the States, you got to buy like those gas cylinders and attach it to. If you remember those gas cylinders, right? You attach it to. Remember those old heaters you used to have like back in the 70s and 80s. If your fireplace wasn't working or your central heating went down or whatever, you bring in the heater. You have a gas cylinder. They use a lot of those gas cylinders for cooking. So even their food, they need this the kerosene. Let me just check. What I think they use kerosene. I could be wrong. 1 second. Do they use kerosene in India and Pakistan for cooking, for their fuel, for their gas for their gas? Yeah. Yes, kerosene is used for cooking and lighting in India and Pakistan, primarily by low-income households or in rural areas where LPG, liquid petroleum gas, is unavailable or too expensive. Okay. India's current situation. Due to energy disruptions linked to Iran conflict, India has relaxed licensing rules to distribute kerosene for cooking and lighting to households in 21 states and federal territories, reversing a previous phase-out trend. Okay, so this is affecting, your regular folk in that part of the world. So the fuel is not just used for mobility or driving vehicles or scooters or mopeds or whatever. It's also, and not for the just, it's also required for the cooking, Okay, Vietnam. In Vietnam, people have been urged to work from home in order to save fuel. See, more people staying home, less expenditure. And there's already C19, the lockdown already had put a significant dent into the economy around the world. Now with this, it's like a world, it's like a house built on a very weak foundation. Esau Edom's kingdom is right now on a very weak foundation, like a chair with 3 legs. Okay, and the third leg is cracked. Okay, so if somebody sits on it, you're going down. So it's just going to take a little bit more of a push before hell breaks loose. Okay, so this is not going to be good for the rest of the world. For the hopeful elect, this is great news because we want this MFA to go down. But for the rest of you people, man, you want this kingdom to go on. This, you're probably crying, bitching, moaning, probably having sleepless nights. Hey, the hopeful elect, we're singing and dancing. We're not singing, we're not dancing, but we're humming tunes in our mind, because we know better days are coming. It's gonna be gruesome before we get there, but we've got that last 100 meters to go of this marathon, and we're gonna, Lord willing, make it. Okay. Either way, our rulership is coming because it's promised by Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Okay, and the Lord is not a man that he should lie. Okay, and and obviously with inflation as well, the money being weaker. Okay, it doesn't have any value. Things are going up in price. All right, so a lot of the videos that we've seen people talk about they're earning more money than they've ever earned before, but it's still not covering their expenses. Even they don't have no disposable income to go out and about and this, that, and the third. Some people do, some people don't. So then obviously on the streets, there's going to be a war between the haves and the have-nots. So a lot of you people are going to get caught out there, man. It's if you look at this, it's like just a chain of events, like a snowball effect. It's going to get bigger. Snowball starts off the size of a tennis ball, and by the time it gets to the end of the hill, it's like a damn avalanche. All right. Sri Lanka. In a bid to save fuel, Sri Lanka may go dark as a country on Tuesday announced that street lights, neon signs, and billboard lights will be switched off. No more mirth. No more fun. No more Club Tropicana. Come, enter. We close at 5 a.m. We have drinks and women. No more of that going on. All right. Additionally, all the state institutions have been asked to reduce their dependency on air conditioning. And they need AC up there, boy, because it gets hot in that part of the world. India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, any part in the East, man. All right. Said government spokesman Nalinda Jatissa, as a country is already facing a hike in fuel prices because they don't have much, so they're going to bump up the prices. Bangladesh, in response to the global energy crisis during the second week of the war, Bangladesh closed its universities, both private and public. Okay, so people are not getting their education. Okay, they might be doing it online from home. I don't know. And also enforced fuel rationing. So the term rationing is coming back. The term rationing, the last time we heard that term was World War II, right? Now rationing is coming back. This is fuel rationing now. There's going to be very soon food rationing. Okay? According to a report by a local newspaper, the Daily Star, the annual fossil fuel import bill of Bangladesh is projected to soar by 4.8 billion due to the ongoing conflict in West Asia. This would be a 40% hike from 2025 levels, as per new analysis by Zero Carbon Analytics. Okay, so we got an idea what's going on, right? Because I'll tell you one thing about the Indian newspapers: they're going to spit the truth. They ain't going to bite their tongue when they talk, right? All right. I'm not going to get too many. Get some scriptures out, man. Excuse me. Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. All right. 7 and 8. 1 second. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Let's go to this one. Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Okay? And the elect are patiently waiting, man. All right? They're patiently waiting because the Lord Yahweh Shemashas put the spirit on them to wait. All right? Though it tarry. Okay, what did the Lord say? Though it tarry. Let me get that scripture out. The elders have been talking about this for so many years, man. We've been watching our elders. They've been talking about it, and it's finally happening. Barakati Yahweh Bashem Yashai. And a lot of you scoffers are going to eat your words, man. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, which means delay, wait for it because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And it's not tarrying anymore. It's not tarrying anymore. We're seeing the demise of this world in real time. All right. People talking about the lack of money or the money not stretching far enough. Okay. People, there was a time it would be sacrilegious to disrespect your president. How dare you say that about the president? How dare you say that about a prime minister? They'll probably beat you up 50 years ago, right? If you're political like that. But nowadays, people don't give a shit. All right. People talk boldly, saying that they hate Keir Starmer, they hate Trump, this, down, the third. You know, they don't respect their kings, their heads of state anymore. All right. Haggai 1 and 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. He that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And this is literal. You're not earning enough. You're going to even earn less now, especially if you're a person that requires fuel. If you're a taxi driver, if you're a person on a rickshaw in the East that takes tourists around. Okay, now with these fuel restrictions, there's going to be less travel for tourists as well abroad, which means less tourism coming in, less expenditure, less money coming into that country, which in turn, a lot of these rickshaw drivers in the East can bump up their prices when they see a so-called Westerner. Oh yeah, they got money. So if they're charging 100 rupees for a ride from one place to the next, which is about £1 or $1.50, they can charge 300 rupees, which from a Western standpoint isn't nothing, but for which is about what $3 or whatever, or £3, right? But from a it's a couple of dollars. From a Western standpoint, it's nothing. But for the people that need this money to literally survive, okay, it's a big significant dent. So as mentioned, it's literally people are putting in the work, but they don't have enough to eat or drink. They don't have nothing. They literally can't even keep themselves warm now. What about the countries that actually have seasons? It's not tropical climate all year round, right? They're gonna need that heat, right? So there's gonna be a lot of people being deleted as well. A lot of elderly people that can't afford to pay their bills. They're gonna start dying inside their homes because they're left alone. They can't put the heater on. They're gonna decide, shall I put the heat on or shall I buy some food? All right. Then you got babies and children with such hot weather. They're gonna need the AC or their fans on, and it's gonna be hard for them to survive, especially in a world where they cut down so much vegetation that would provide you like a shade or somewhat of a balanced climate, because Esau, Edom, and and the rest of the world has followed suit after the so-called white man by cutting down vegetation and trees, this and third, and making desert lands and building buildings, and destroyed nature. This is gonna really be detrimental to you. Okay, so as it's a chain reaction, man. Simple as that. All right, and then money isn't going far enough. Right? Money isn't going far enough. So, and he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. So ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And that's literal. Okay? All right, so let me see if there's anything else I can read. So we are coming to a closure of this world. What's that scripture? Better is... there's a scripture that comes to my mind. I forgot it. Oh, damn, where is it? Yeah. I'll read one more scripture, then I'll finish up. Okay. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Okay. A time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And the Lord is plucking up this kingdom. Okay. We're seeing the demise of this world in real time, and it's in a very short duration. It's going to get worse. Okay. So this is looking great for the hopeful elect, but it's looking bad for the rest of the world. All right. So it's all good news for us, the hopeful elect, because we want this MF to go down and we want to go home. All right. So I'm going to leave it there now. All praises, honor, glory, and blessings and power be unto Abano Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Rakakwadash Mawatha Bad Babal Kwam Yashrala Shalom.